have the name right here too. To introduce our convention chair for this year's convention, a man that many of us know and have grown to love, Mr. Sam Granado.
Good morning. Are you having fun? Yeah. Good. It's my pleasure and privilege to be here today. I am Sam Granado. I am running for United States Senate. I'm running for Bob Bennett's seat. I'm up here today to introduce Rob Miller, your Vice Chair of the State Democratic Party, as he is leaving this position to become Chair of the Davis County Democrats. I want to just mention a couple things about Rob and Wayne as I've worked with them the last few months. I was told by people on both sides of the aisle, don't listen to these people. They'll lead you to the water, but they won't let you drink it. They're going to overpromise and underdeliver. I want you to know they really haven't promised me anything. I see the opportunity out there. I've learned to love and respect these men. They have integrity. They represent what you people are and what we are in the Democratic Party. Wayne and Rob, with their vision and leadership, I've seen what they do and how they perform. And at this point, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Rob Miller. Thank you.
I haven't prepared anything to say. I wanted to speak from my heart today. I talked to Wayne and Sam and many others and just decided I just wanted to have that heart-to-heart, just to tell you thank you. I was thinking about 4 years ago, I was thinking about standing in the African American caucus, and Mr. Bush in that caucus looked at me as one of the 5 candidates for vice chair that year and said, "Sir, we've had a lot of candidates come in here, and yet nobody seems to know who we are as Democrats, what we stand for. Can you give me 5 things that Utah Democrats stand for?" Well, I gave number 1, I gave number 2, I gave number 3, number 4. I started scratching my head and I realized it's easy. You can always say love. You can always say love when you want to have a value or know that's something we stand for. And I know I weaseled my way out of that, but I can tell you that today, 4 years later, that's not a question anybody's asked me about. Who do Democrats stand for? We know that we stand for education, we stand for ethics, and we stand for equality. The 3 E's, and carry that home with you today, if you will. I want to also say that it's been a privilege to work with the executive committee, the staff. They're the greatest. Working with Todd Taylor, who, I'm just going to be frank, ghostwrites a lot of my stuff that I put out there. Gives me ideas for it, as does Chairman Holland and Craig Axford. They've just been fantastic. They've allowed us to lean on them. Tika's done a fantastic job bringing better events every single time. Every single time. I also want to thank Marcy Smith-West, who worked with us during our first term, Jeff Bell, who was our communications director for our first term, Bill Keshler, who was our communications director for the second term. And you know what, Craig Axford? You're one of the best communication directors I've ever seen, and that's not even your job. Thank you. I'm not going to take a lot of time. I am going to say, though, that again, I've had a great experience. I don't know any other party, I know not the other side, where an average, pretty mediocre guy could decide that he was embarrassed. That when Scott Matheson Jr., we had 2 good candidates that year, and Governor Huntsman has been a good governor, but the best candidate was Scott Matheson Jr., and when he on election night that night, he came off the stage, and this guy who had supported him, somebody who had not been doing a lot in Utah politics, came up and asked if he could give him a hug, poor Scott. And then I said I was sorry. I was sorry because I had not taken the time to be more involved, to find ways to help get people elected, that maybe I hadn't worked harder in school so that I could have more economic ability to help Utah Democrats. And now I have these big dreams of building a permanent Utah State Democratic home, of having a Utah Democratic governor in the style of Cal Rampton and Scott Matheson Sr., and having a senator like Frank Moss, and having a congressman. Well, we already have the best example with Congressman Jim Matheson. He does a fantastic job. Number one, the popularity in the federal delegation because he represents the people that elected him. And that's what government's about. It's not about power, it's about stewardship and working together. So it's an exciting time to be a Utah Democrat. And I also want to tell you the reason I decided to run for Davis County Chair was the best place for me wasn't necessarily where I wanted to be. I wanted to serve another 2 years as vice chair. I have loved the job. But that's not where the growth is going to happen. We need to have powerful county parties that are self-sufficient, that can raise money, that can get candidates elected, that we can have a statewide infrastructure so that when people like Sam and Jim and Peter Caroon decide to run for statewide office, that they win. I've had my photo taken with some pretty neat people. Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Jim Matheson. And I'm very proud of that, to have met these people, but I gotta tell you, it's no greater than meeting you, the Osmonds, the Jamie Nagel, who's my secretary in Davis County, Jim Brown, who's my treasurer. Ryan Miller's not here, we won't punish him too bad, we'll still mention his name, but meeting people like Kim Wixom and Chris Palmer, and just meeting people like myself, common everyday citizens who care about giving opportunity to others. A good friend the other day told me that the reason people get into politics is because they want to listen to themselves speak. I'm terrified of it. But I'll tell you this, I asked myself, because of his comment, was I still in it for the reason, knowing 6 senior citizens who had to leave a health care or a senior residence because they could no longer afford their health care or their medications. Was I still there for them? Was I still in it for my Aunt Teresa, a member of the LGBT community, who deserves the same opportunities and rights? Government should never be about holding back health care opportunities and right to life, end of life, beginning of life rights from anybody. That's not what it's about. And to make sure that our children, not just my children, but all our children, have the best education, the best opportunities available. And I'm here to tell you folks, it's my testimony that that's why I believe I'm here, and I know that's why you're here. Thank you for letting me be your vice chair. Now let's go win.